Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus one more time, and I'm here this time to continue my efforts to see if I can persuade or encourage at least some of you to join with me in my efforts to create heaven in the United States of America. As it is in heaven, it's the way I would like to see it here on the borders within the United States of America. And it just might spread, but I definitely want to see it here. And I know many of you are planning on dying to go to heaven, and I want to make a comment on that a little bit later on. I hope I don't forget it. But I want to talk about some of the things that are before the people today. I hear in town hall meetings they're asking questions about certain things that's very important to them, and one of those things has to do with gun violence and gun control or the lack thereof, and they are concerned about people who wants to represent them, what would be their proposal as far as dealing with this. Now, if someone asked me that, I would say, well, why do people use guns? Well, you know, all of the reasons that they use them. We can identify them in their great number. So we think about what are the things that guns are used for that are basically unacceptable. And that's this violence that we have to be faced with every day. This guns used to perpetuate perhaps other types of crimes. Guns just used for ugliness, to abuse people. You know, some people might want to include war in there, and I would and do. But I know you're not ready for that yet, so I'll just say these are the reasons that guns are used and have a negative view. And so my concern would be, how do you get rid of that? And at the same time protect the good reasons that people use guns, you know. Sometimes people say, well, what about the sickies, the ones who just don't know any better, who get their hands on a gun? Well, I figure they do it for the same reasons. They feel the same thing that everybody else feels, just because they might be a little disadvantaged in certain areas doesn't take away what happens to them. In fact, many times it's more that they have to deal with. So we think about, how do we eliminate these acts, these guns being used for these purposes? So I would say, let's give people more of life. Let's give them a reason for living. Let's just assure them that they'll have a life that they're happy with. And when I say assure them, come to them as I'm coming to you with a proposal that engages each of you, giving you the view, a view that is and should be and must be acceptable by all of us that make the decision that it is worth a commitment in order to bring this about. And it is so essential because what it represents is a much higher order than any other thing that we are familiar with today. We want to make sure that people have an understanding that their dreams can come true. I heard somewhere somebody said that the reason that Donald Trump got in is because a lot of middle class people have started losing out on their dreams. The things that they had imagined about themselves and their families start dissipating. They saw Republicans reneging on promises, the same promises that are being made today and that have always been made. They saw the Democrats doing the same things, and they saw a man who told them that he had made it on his own, that he was really, really, really rich, that he was the smartest man on earth, and he was white. And all of this for people who are looking for something. And even these people, for one reason or another, are blaming other people for their problems. They are not really going for solutions to the problems. They are trying to find an answer that would address them. That's the way the world is. Boy, I sure smell like I smell something burning upstairs. Anyway, so these are the kinds of things that we have to make sure, assure people, you know, that the life that they hoped for, assure them. And you can't assure it any better way than expressing to them that the resources don't belong to anybody. They are here for all of us to be used as we see fit. I don't think you get too much of an argument for that. We got the resources, no doubt, and we got the labor supply. I admit we do have people in positions for the money and not for the love. And I would definitely be interested in switching that around. So if you're going to be in a job, let it be a job that you love. So you can switch out of that thing that you're in and get to something you love. There's somebody that loves what you're in, holding them back. And they're just so glad you got in that spot so they can get in there and shine. And we, all of us together, are blessed by that. And what are we doing? We are doing the same things that we do today. We're creating those things that have been established and determined as good and as essential for this kind of lifestyle that we as Americans have grown to, well, fall in love with, even though we're falling behind. And we're looking for someone progressive to take us forward, to take us on out of this, what we know today, and take us to what our dreams really are. We want to engage ourselves and see. If you do stuff like this and you're giving people reason to put down guns, they're not thinking about trying to go and fight somebody because their problems now they recognize that they have a hand, that they can be listened to, will be listened to. And not only that, they're playing a role, you see. And that's real. So yes, I come to you constantly saying I want to see heaven in America. I'm one of those people who just not talking about church, not talking about the Bible. I'm talking about love. The love that an invisible power that I could not see, could not touch, could not feel, but recognize the evidence of that power. And the result of that power, ladies and gentlemen, is standing right here before you with this microphone in your hand, telling you that there is a power you can't see that's much bigger than Donald Trump and Putin and any other dictator in this world. Not only that, any other organization in this world. It's bigger and better than all of that. And all of the lives that we live is a rejection to the life that you pray for, that you live for, but you don't want to die for. And sometimes in the history, that's the only way you got it. And some people couldn't measure that, so they had to let you go on your own on that one. You see, but if we can make the change, and you have to understand this, a change like this I've just been describing to you, the only people that would be angry, should be angry, are those, and we expect them to be angry, who wants to be God, who wants to rule over people. Maybe a small group, maybe a little church, maybe a little social organization in the community, maybe something in government, local level, state level. Maybe it will be something on the national level, and some even on the international level, where somebody's playing these games, trying to benefit this or that, and these different secret societal desires. And all of these things can be considered, and you can be guaranteed a happening in a situation where there's a lot of mess going on. And yet, it becomes normal. And the people get convinced. I'm just telling you something, bring you to an awareness, who are convinced that they cannot do anything about it. And really, literally, ladies and gentlemen, in their efforts to prove their love for God, they will actually go into a church and listening to what some might call an emotional arising. Some might say, no, it's the Spirit, it's the Holy Ghost. I don't care what you want to call it. But these people call it responding to the Spirit of God. And they'll crawl around all on the church, dancing all over the place, joyously. falling all over benches and dancing and the band's going when the Holy Ghost get to rolling. And I'm telling you, when they get through, they have a release. They feel like they got a rejuvenation because they've had an experience. They believe that with all their hearts. Why do they limit it to that? Why don't they already see the world's darkness? Why can't they see the suffering of others and why it exists and how to fix it? Why can't they see that? Why do they see themselves being separate from that? Why do they see themselves as saying they have no responsibility to that? Why? Answer that question. Why do they see it like that? I'll tell you why. They see it like that because they have been taught like that. What you see is what you got. Now, for them to speak like I am speaking, they still would have had to been taught. No doubt. You didn't know any better. That's why you accepted that message. That's why you accept that message, because you do not know any better. You've been in this way all your life. I mean, they played it real good. It's getting really exposed now, but they played it real good. It's been this way all your life. And for most of mine, I've been this way. But there were some things I had mentioned happened that made me realize that this was not all of it. And because of what it was, it made me see this for what it really is. But the reason I'm so sure to talk to you about it, because not only do I see it as it is, I see heaven for all of us. Yeah, buddy. That's what I see. And all of us who are not of that part that want to be God, who want to say we're connected to God from DNA, all of that stuff. Playing games on my poor little brothers and sisters, they buy into all of that stuff like you somebody. They still talking about the prince. Would you believe it? As if it's royalty. I mean, the television stations talk about him every day. They are somebody. Do you know, in the eyes of love, every last one of you are just that exciting. Even more so. Just that exciting. You don't get the recognition because the highlight is not to get that message to you. They want you to believe in separation. They want you to believe in superiority. So they hold up the prince. They hold up American Idols. All of this. And they put a lot of money on to make sure they get your attention. And everybody else engaged in it an awful lot. Now, I heard a brother say, I was on social media surfing around listening to what people are saying about the conditions of the world. And one brother commented that he was a psychologist or something like that. He was a deep brother. It had to be deep for me to stop and listen to him. But he quoted somebody else. And he said he was talking about a person that has no shame. Can you imagine what it is? A person that has no shame. Now, depending on you, if you got any shame, you know what it's like to be a person that has no shame. If you ain't got no shame, you say good. It's great. It's wonderful. But the reality of it is that a person that has no shame doesn't fit in. Doesn't fit in anywhere. And it is not because they're progressive going someplace. It's that they're constantly choking whatever it is and giving nothing in return. And so I'm having to say, that if you have no shame as an individual, you are engaging exceedingly well when there's no shame in the nation. When the nation is held up on a stage as being a lying nation. A nation is held up on a stage as being a victimizing nation. A nation held up on the stage as being untrustworthy. A nation that is being exposed with hypocrisy, going and coming. A nation that has become weak. Because what? They have no shame. They have no shame. So what do we do with an individual that has no shame, or a nation that has no shame? Well, those who got shame take the leadership and you teach them shame. They weren't born this way. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you don't want to hear it, but they were not born this way. Something in the society had to do with their family, their education, their socialization. I don't care, don't know what it is. But they were created by some devilish, sick, shaped corner of this nation. But that nation is just that portion of the nation. And this brother and these systems and all of the people, the way they responded, it's justifiably so. I mean, I'm just going to tell you the truth. It's justifiably so. Nobody's faking it. What they represent, you know, and most of it is against what others consider okay representation. But it is what it is. And this whole thing, from my perspective, is what are we going to do about it? My concern is doing something about it. Now, look at me. I've lived a long time. Yes. Thank God I'm still here. I've lived a long time. I've heard these games over and over and over. I've watched the people again and again and again. You know, and let me just say a little bit about Christians and everybody else who's not Christians but think you got it going on. But for those of you who say you truly believe in God, y'all listen to me well. You truly believe in God. You believe that Jesus Christ is his son, that he came to this earth and he lived amongst us as us, had no sin. My. And gave his life for us to redeem us from our failed state if we believe and accept him as the Son of the Almighty God. He came here to deliver us. If we believe that, confess that, then we will, or some say are, saved. But now, that sounds good. But what does that mean? Have you ever thought about that? What does that mean? Think about what Jesus Christ represented. Jesus Christ represented heaven on earth. A different system, a new form of government. He exposed all that other crap. He knew what it was. That was Jesus Christ. He made it clear that if he could hold the whole world, if it was offered to him, the whole world, not like Putin, or this dude in North Korea, or China, or the Philippines, or Trump, not like them, they just got a portion. He was offered the whole world, all he had to do. Well, you know, any of the leaders out there in the world today would have took that real quick. They'd have jumped on it. In fact, I think they're fighting, trying to do that right now. Yes. But he laid his life down. Now, if that much of it is true, let's check out the next part of it and see if it sounds like it's true. He rose from the dead. Wait a minute now, they crucified him, but he rose from the dead. Now, can you get a hang of that? This representation, this power, this message, this freedom message of bringing heaven on earth would empower you to stand up for truth, and if they try to take you out, you can rise from the dead. Now, they kind of made it plain that you probably wouldn't find any peace here. You leave here, that's what they say he did. He left here. And everybody else who's been dying around here, they left here somewhere if they continue to exist. But what I'm saying to you is that if he laid his life down and you believing in him, if you believe that heaven is all the stuff you've been talking about, if you believed that you would be with Jesus, if you believe that you would be with your family that goes on before you, would you stay around in this hell? Would you make the decision just to be bossed and controlled and manipulated? Taking away all your freedoms? Punishing you for doing the things that's normal for you and stuff that you like? Would you put up with that if you believed in all that stuff about God? Answer that for yourself. Would you do that? You know what I think? I'm just going to tell you what I think. I think that if people believed in God like that, I think they would be committing suicide by the hundreds of thousands monthly just to get out of this hell. But you know what? They are afraid to die. They don't want to die. They want to live forever. Even though they know they're going to die, they still try to do everything to keep on living. And yet, they're talking about a heaven. See? Now, I believe personally that the only people that really believe in heaven to that extent are truly those that commit suicide. So I think, I don't know who that's calling, but I'm going to have to call them back later. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say to you that if you were really led by the Spirit of God, you would gladly give up your life on this plane. You only live here. See, you've been changed. You've been born again. You only live here in this garden to change it, to beautify it, to turn it to heaven on earth. That's your purpose. You got a goal, a brand new purpose. Not just to be a part of what you've been a part of it, but now something that's special. This is a program that everybody plays a part in. You can see. And out of all that darkness, we're going to create stuff that we bring to the light. And eliminate that which is darkness, so all people can see that we don't have to die to go to heaven. We can live in heaven right here. And when that time comes, we just transcend to the next heaven. And it's something that we don't ever worry about because we've learned the lesson of life. Now, so ladies and gentlemen, you know, I just wanted to share that kind of little stuff with you because I am committed. I gave my life away a long time ago, and that spirit I was telling you about caught it, gave it back to me and said, no way, Jose. And because I was spared going away at that time, now continued existence was predicated on what had just happened, on that miracle. And so there's no way I could deny something as wonderful as that, because I wasn't trying to kill myself. I was just stupid. And death was going to choke me. But anyway, grateful of that and what I see that as. So I have to go out and speak for that power that was so amazing to me. And I concur with people who talk about God and when it agrees with what I know to be a fact. But when they're taking something that somebody said and trying to interpret it in some old kind of crazy kind of way, if it doesn't make sense to what God has given me, the God that's in me, it to me doesn't make sense. But I'm not just going to leave it there. I can show you where it doesn't make sense, and I can show you some clarity on it if you're willing to accept it. Or if you can show me some clarity on what I'm saying, I'm willing to accept it. In fact, come on with it. I'm grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've been kind of clear on this moment and my effort to try to assure you that if you made the choice and played the part that you would have to play in the spirit of love for the purpose of seeing and experiencing heaven for all humankind that is in America to such a degree that perhaps it would become a golden light that's on a hill that would cause others to desire and put down their guns as we have done by just making a decision to serve one another, to protect one another, to see that each of us get a chance to experience the best that life has to offer according to that spirit that is responsible for all existence. No guns necessary, no violence, no lying, no cheating, no stealing, none of that stuff. And so when the rest of the nations of the world recognize the way we did it and how wonderful the results are, hey, I don't think there would be much of a problem. America was held out on a platter as being a special kind of nation. And up until recently, we were always considered that. Now I'm sure that we're questioned as to how we can really have compassion for others, if it's real or not. Most of the folks would say we might be as citizens, but our leadership is stopping it. And eventually, if we as citizens don't correct that, then we won't just be talking about our leadership. They'll be saying America. And see, that's what the darkness will carry you to. And that's what I was just saying, just repeating it again. Forgive me for saying it in a different kind of way. But I want to thank you again for giving me this your time. And until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying, let's keep working on it. It's beautiful. Your greatest imagination is just a touch, but it's necessary. Thank you.